Welcome back. The squabble finally settles as members of the House of Representatives considered and approved the report submitted by the House Committee on Finance on the tax reform bills. The report was submitted by the chairman of the committee, Honorable James Faleke, before the House at a plenary on Thursday, a significant step in the administration's efforts to overhaul Nigeria's tax system. Supporters of the bill argue that it will improve the ease of doing business, curb double taxation, and attract investment. However, critics fear it may concentrate tax authority at the federal level, limiting states' revenue autonomy. And of course, joining me to discuss this is right here in the studio with me. I've got Olufemi Lawson, Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability. Good to have you on the show, Dr.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
And of course, joining us virtually via Zoom is Dr. Segun Awosonya, Institutional Reforms Advocate and President Founder, CF. Dr. Segun, good to have you on the show this evening. Thank you for turning up.
Thank you very much for always.
All right, I'll begin with you quickly. What are the key provisions of the tax reform bill, and how do you think this will impact Nigerians as a whole, very quickly?
Thank you very much. Let me begin by saying, aligning with the general view on taxation. A lot of people always believe that the biggest scam in life is paying taxes on the money we make, paying taxes on the money we spend, and taxes on things we own that we already pay taxes on with already taxed money. So this dichotomy always makes people have this negative feelings towards taxation generally. But the payment of taxes is an obligation which we all share in order to contribute to our nation's progress and development. It is a patriotic duty that helps fund essential public services and infrastructure for the betterment of our society. While no one enjoys paying taxes, it is a responsibility we must embrace for the greater good of our country and its people. If you are to look at anything that has to do with economics, we look at it from the perspective of the firm, of the individual, and of the government. For regular citizens, this particular tax bill looks at simplifying, the filing processes with less paperwork and clearer rules about what one needs to pay. That it has never been clear in the old system. Secondly, you have better protection from unfair multiple taxation and often hits small businesses owners. If you look at small business owners before now, in the older tax regime, it is always unfavorable. It's like you're being punished for paying taxes. And thirdly, the digital tax services saves time instead of the long queues for tax offices. For those people who operate firms, you can tell how difficult it is for you to even get access before you can even pay. So this time around, based on the new tax system, we have more predictable tax environment to help you plan your business operation. We have tax incentives for creating local jobs and investing in key sectors. And we have a clearer dispute resolution process if you disagree with the tax authority. It's not supposed to be a forceful thing. It's supposed to be a dialogue, And then lastly, on the nation side, with increased tax revenue, we are going to have increased tax revenue to fund public services like roads, like schools and healthcare.
Okay.
Reduce dependence on oil revenue through a more diversified tax base, and also better data to plan economic policies for more businesses to thrive within the former tax system. So I think it's a whole lot of advantage. And to our young people, more job opportunities are promised with this because it's going to help the human capital development as promised by the administration. It will improve public infrastructure funded by increased tax compliance, and technology-driven tax system will match the digital lifestyle of young people. So I think it's a welcome development, and we must commend our representative at the National Assembly for putting Nigeria first. Thank you.
All right. Well, Segun, you went the whole scape, but we still have quite a number of questions that are quite pending here. Dr. Lufemi, very quickly, where he seemed to have actually touched on basic areas that the tax would actually affect. Now, there's been the argument of the multiple taxation in Nigeria. Now, with this new reform, how do you think this will address this multiple taxation moving forward?
It has. It's a progressive move.
Okay.
And of course, even though personally I have some key areas of interest in that proposal brought before the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu, I think we are making progress.
Okay.
And this, even when signed into law, can still be subjected to future review.
Review, yeah.
To make it, because there's no perfect law anyway. But for me, one of the exciting aspects is the derivative principle of this new tax reform bill.
Okay.
Even though it met a lot of brick wall, even though it didn't meet the actual proposal
right.
By the authors of this bill, particularly the president. But I think it has taken us a bit, ahead of where we were,
right.
As a country. But for me, majorly, if we get the concurrence of the Senate and this becomes a law, it is going to have addressed a lot of issues that have been challenging our tax system in Nigeria, particularly the question of multiple taxation, which this seeks to address.
Now, you just mentioned it will address the taxation, the multiple taxation we've been having. Now, my concern is, how confident are you that the government will implement these reforms and it will be transparent? Because transparency, in delivering some of these reforms is the concern of most Nigerians. How do you think transparency will come into play, especially knowing that people still find a way to cut around the system to still cheat, the status quo?
That happens in every system, but you see, leadership is very key in this instance, and for the current administration to have thought it wise that this is a route to go through to ensure an effective tax system, a prudent tax system. It is part of the content of this bill is bringing transparency into the taxation system in Nigeria. So leadership is very key in ensuring that operators of this law, just like every of our laws, are transparent and accountable, not just to the authorities, but to the Nigerian citizens. This will not only improve the earnings of the country as an institution, it also improve the confidence of the people. It will bring more people willingly, into the tax net. When they see a transparent system, when they see a process that is judiciously, implemented to the extent that we can begin to point out as citizens the benefits of, getting involved in the current tax reform system that the country is bringing on board.
All right, Dr. Segun, very quickly before we go on a break, I just want to ask you this. Now, quickly, the tax actually raised a lot of controversies from the very beginning. Do you think this reform right now and the way it has been passed and approved, do you think that it has addressed the recent controversy and all the squabbles that surrounded the tax? Quickly, in 30 seconds before we go on the next topic.
The beauty of a democracy is the dialogue that people get into, and that dialogue helps to see from each other's perspective and to have that emotional intelligence enough to also see the concerns of other people and to see how you can mitigate them. Laws are not mosaic tablets that are cast in stone. They are things that will be reviewed over and over again. The essence of laws is to mirror society in the here and the now, not to put them or not to cement it in one position. So I believe as we go on, the areas that are not clear can be reviewed and also can be amended as we proceed. But this is a good development going forward. Thank you.
All right, well, let's go on a break, and now we'll return. Newsweek continues in a moment. Stay with us.